Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I don't want to say welcome back because it's been so long. I am here. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna keep uploading. Anyways, welcome to my channel. We're gonna do a Kardashian inspired brown smoky eye. It's this look right here. We're going to catch up a little bit, talk about makeup a lot, and get back into the YouTube world. So if you want to learn how to do this look. Hello, Wilder. Would you like to be in the video? That's my son, everybody. We're gonna talk about him a little bit and give you guys an update. Anyways, if you wanna know how to get this look, then keep on watching. All right guys, to start, I'm gonna use my primer. This is the Becca Evermatte Poreless Priming Perfector because I'm pretty oily most of the time. Before starting, I obviously had a clean face, no makeup on it or anything like that. And I used a rose oil as a moisturizer. So I'm just gonna pat this primer into my T-zone. This primer is extremely tacky and it kind of feels weird at first when you first start using it, but it's so good for oily skin. It kind of just fills in your pores and really mattifies everything. We're gonna go ahead with foundation. I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. This is the shade 440. I will say this foundation oxidizes really bad. So get something even like 2 shades lighter than what you normally would wear. Color match in the store and then, I don't know, walk around. This is a drugstore foundation, so I got mine from Superstore. So I would say even like color match, walk around, do your shopping, and then look at it and see how it oxidizes. And try to like color match one that's like lighter too and see how that one oxidizes, because yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm just gonna use my Super Dirty Beauty Blender with that. And I'm just gonna pat it into the skin. How's everyone doing with quarantine? I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it because I feel like it's all everybody talks about all the time, but at the same time it's kind of like, how do you not talk about it? You know, like it's the most relevant thing right now. It's the most prominent. So I mean, it kind of takes everything over, but that's why I don't want to talk about it. Oh yeah, I guess so much has like changed since my last welcome back video that I should mention. I was gonna start talking about my quarantine experience, but anyways, obviously since my last video, a lot has changed. I had a baby and he's pretty freaking cute. I'm pretty obsessed with him. His name is Wilder, for anybody that doesn't follow me on social media but follows me here, which is extremely unlikely. Anyways, Wilder is the sweetest little turd in all the world. By the way, guys, like really make sure you bring it down your neck, especially if you're as pale as I am and you're rolling with a shade as dark as I am. I used to have a tan, okay? And then quarantine hit. Okay guys, foundation is on. We're gonna go ahead with concealer. This is the Maybelline Age Rewind Concealer. I'm almost out, like I'm literally so close to out. I'm just gonna put this underneath my eyes and on my eyelid as primer as well. It's kind of a good thing that I'm almost out because my New Year's resolution for 2020 was to go cruelty-free with my makeup. I'm starting with beauty products and what I use on my body, and then I'm going to move outwards into more cruelty-free. So I was just gonna finish up whatever I had because makeup is expensive sometimes. Unfortunately, Maybelline is not cruelty-free, which is a bummer. So once this is out, I'm gonna have to move on to a new concealer. So if you have any recommendations, like what are your favorites? What's something that I should try or go back to or whatever, let me know in the comments below. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and set everything with my CoverGirl Clean Professional Loose Powder. This is the shade 105. Kind of bummed. Like I was saying, Maybelline is not cruelty-free, and they had my all-time favorite powder. I used to use this in like high school, and it's not my favorite. So again, if you have any recommendations for loose powder I should try, let me know. I'm just gonna take that on my damp beauty blender and just pat it in where I had the concealer, and then I'm also gonna put it in the T-zone of my face because I get oily, you know? So I'm gonna take quite a bit and just press that into the areas that I get the most oily, which for me is like right in the apples of my cheeks, and then up the nose, and a little bit right in the forehead as well. I mean, you could call this baking, I guess. I don't know. I guess it kind of is. A little bit on the chin. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and do my brows really quickly. Now, I'm not doing anything crazy. I never do. I don't really like a huge, strong brow or anything like that. So the first step that I always do with my brows, actually usually the only step that I do on my day-to-day makeup, is I'll take my spoolie and I've run it underwater and then through a bar of soap. And I'll just use that to brush up all the brow hairs and just make them look fuller and thicker. So once I have all the brow hairs brushed up, I'm just gonna use a powder to fill them in. Again, I don't really like my brows to be too full or too dark, so I just go in with powder and a little angled brush. I actually use the brush that comes on the Benefit Ka-Brow, which I don't use. I just use the brush. So I just go in and gently fill in anywhere that I find is a little bit sparse. Honestly, you guys, I am not the queen of brows. This is like my least favorite part of doing my makeup. That's why like day to day I actually just don't even bother. I usually tint my brows and just brush them up and leave them at that. But honestly, that brow, what's it called? Lamination. Brow lamination. That looks really interesting to me, and I feel like I would want to try that out. So once I'm happy with where they're at, I'll just go with my spoolie again and just brush them back up. I do this a few times actually, just to make sure that everything really stays in place and stays looking full and how I want them to. Now let's move on to face. I'm going to go with bronzer. I'm going to use the Milani Baked Bronzer. It's the shade 05. It's called Soleil. I don't know if it's Milani or Maylani. Anyways, it's got a really nice gold shimmery reflect to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with that on my Morphe R2 brush. This brush is nice because it's fluffy, but it has a little bit of a point to it. So it gives you really nice structure, but it's not like a hard line or anything like that. Personally, I like my bronzer to be kind of blown out. I usually mix my bronzer and blush anyway, so I'm not too worried about it being like a harsh, like, you know, super clean line. If I do want that, I use a totally different brush, which we'll do that another day. But today we're going for the blown out, bronzy, tan look because I don't have that anymore. Thank you, quarantine. So I'll also take that underneath the jawline, and back behind the ear is really important to make sure you continue that effect. And then I'll just kind of brush it down my neck a little bit, just to make sure that everything is nice and cohesive. And then just a little bit up on the forehead as well. And then once both sides of my face are done, I'll just use whatever's left on the brush to kind of brush away any excess powder on my nose and just continue that same kind of coloring onto my nose as well. I'm not pressing too hard or anything. That's why I'm just using the leftovers. So this is also a Milani product. This is a baked blush. This is the shade also 05. This one's called Luminoso. This one has a nice like gold reflect to it as well. So they kind of fit right in together. I'm gonna use my Morphe M530 brush, and I'm just gonna basically mix that with the bronzer. So I'm gonna start on the apples of my cheeks and smiling so that I can really see that apple kind of shape here. And then I'm just gonna bring that back into the bronzer, going back and forth between swirly motions and then just patting it in. I love this blush because it gives such a nice glow with that reflect. And then once you add your highlight, it really just all comes together and it's so pretty. So same thing, once I have all that blush on there, I'm just gonna take whatever's left and just run it over my nose and a little bit up into kind of everywhere that I have bronzer as well, just because I'm obsessed with blush. I don't know. So that's basically it for the face at this point. I always do my highlight after everything else, after my setting spray, after everything. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of baking while we do our eyes. So to bake, I'm gonna go back in with the CoverGirl loose powder. And I'm just gonna take my beauty blender again, and I'm gonna carve out underneath my cheekbone. It's funny because I actually, I watched a bunch of my old videos. That's actually kind of how I got wanting to do this again, which I will get into in a minute. But I watched a bunch of my old videos and I actually said that I hated the way that this looked, which is so funny because I do it every time I do my makeup now. It's funny how much you can change and how much your makeup routine evolves without even really realizing it. And then I'll just take whatever's left and just kind of go up the sides of my nose. I don't really like to do a strong bake on my nose, just a little kind of definition. And then also just back over the underneath of the eyes, just in case any blush or anything kind of came up a little bit too high. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in and we will start our Kardashian inspired brown smoky eye. Okay guys, we are ready for eyes. Today we're gonna be using two palettes. We're gonna use the Sultry and the Subculture, both from Anastasia Beverly Hills. We're gonna start with the Sultry. I'm gonna be going in with Birch first here. This is this like light brown shade that I've already hit pan on. And I'm gonna go in with this Morphe M433 brush. It's got a really nice like fluffiness to it, but also it's a little bit flat. So when you turn it on its side like this, it's more flat this way, but it's still nice and fluffy. So you can get a really good crease definition, but you can still blow it out as well. So one thing that I've noticed with the Kardashians and their smoky eyes is it's always super blown out, but it's still very structured, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go in with this brush and Birch, and we're gonna start in the crease. So I'm gonna start on the outer corner always because that's where I want the most of my product. And I'm just gonna bring it in all the way to kind of the inner kind of eye socket bone thing. I'm just gonna blow it all the way out as well. So I'm kind of starting with like back and forth, and then I start moving into circular motions as I'm trying to kind of blow it out and diffuse the shade a little bit more. I will also turn it on its side. I started on the flatter side like this to kind of give me the definition. Now I'm gonna turn it on its side this way so that it's fluffier, and I'm just gonna go back and forth again. I'm not really worried about it getting on the lid. We're only using two shades today. It's gonna be very tonal, very kind of, what's that word? Oh, monochromatic. So don't worry too much about where it's going or anything like that. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good about the crease, so I'm gonna go ahead with our lid shade now. I'm gonna use the brush that comes with the ABH palettes. I feel like it has a really good flat side that gives really good pigment. And we're just gonna switch to the Subculture. And I'm just gonna go in with this Fudge shade here. It's a really warm brown. So I'm just gonna pack the shade into my flat side of my brush that comes with the palette, tap off the excess, and I'm gonna go in right in the center of my lid and really press it in. So I'm just gonna do patting motions across the center of the lid and work my way up and out to both sides. As I come towards the inner corner, I'm starting to use swiping motions over patting motions just because I want it to be slightly more diffused on the inner corner. And I'm just gonna swipe it up into the crease as well. And then I'm gonna start kind of pressing but swiping down as I work my way up towards the crease as well to make sure that everything stays blended. And I'm just gonna keep the other brush really close by, the one we use for our crease, because I'm just gonna be going back and forth between the two to make sure that we stay blended and not have any kind of harsh lines between, as you can see right here, like between the lid and the crease. So we wanna just make sure that we buff that out. I just lightly dip my brush back into the first shade we used in the crease just to help blend it out, and I'm kind of just swapping back and forth until I feel that it's right. I don't know. So I'm liking the depth that I'm getting here. At this point, I'm just gonna take a clean, fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna really lightly, like no pressure on my hand, just buff over all the edges, just to make sure that everything is kind of seamless. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add another layer of depth. We're gonna use a brown pencil liner. I don't know what brand this is from. It literally is just, it just says eyeliner, like I've used it too much. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna run it right along my lash line and kind of right where my lid meets my lash line. I'm not worried about being too clean or precise because we're just gonna buff it out. This is just for added depth right at the lashes. In the waterline to kind of thicken up my lashes. I'm not convinced that I'm gonna wear strips today, so gotta make them look as thick as possible. So already you can see the huge difference from this eye that has liner and this eye that has no liner. It just really adds depth and just like another layer, like I said. So we'll just add it to this eye and continue on. Now I'll go ahead with that same flat brush. I'm not adding any product. I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth and diffuse that line and blend it into the shadows. Now I'll just go ahead and take my brush and I'll just kind of wipe whatever's already going on down there in and blend it into my lash line. Now I'm gonna go ahead with a lighter liner. This is a NYX, it's actually a lip liner, but I use it on my eyes, I use it on my lips too, but I like this one for eyes. This is the shade Mauve, how do you say it? Comment down below, tell me if I'm wrong. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna run it in the lower waterline and just kind of right along the lower lashes. I think that this kind of ties in with the crease shade that we had. It's very warm and it's not too dark, so it adds a nice kind of variance. Now I'm gonna go ahead with the brush we used in our crease and I'm just gonna start actually up top and bring down whatever we had up there, and I'm just gonna swipe it right across the lash line as well and diffuse out that liner. I love that lower liner because I feel like it really makes the blue of my eyes pop. I like to stick to warmer browns, warmer shades because my eyes are kind of like a cooler gray blue. So using that warmer tone will really help to bring out the blue. And then I'm just gonna swipe over with that clean fluffy brush again and kind of clean up anything that I feel is a little bit messy or unwanted. So I'm pretty content with how this is looking. I'm gonna go ahead and do mascara, but strip lashes are optional, baby, do your thing. So let's start with curling lashes. Also, I just remembered that I forgot to tell you guys how I decided to start doing this again. I told you I would and I forgot. So a few weeks ago, a good friend of mine was actually kind of just telling me like, hey, you used to do this, why don't you do it anymore? And I was like, you're right. So then I went on this like crazy rampage and I just watched all my old videos all over again, and I'm freaking funny, first of all. I make myself laugh. Secondly, like I had such a good time doing it. It's so fun. And it's not like I have anything better to do because I'm stuck in my house all the time. This is kind of a nice break away from the baby. Not that I don't like to hang out with him, but it's a nice break away and it's nice to just feel like myself, my old self, my pre-Wilder self, where I used to do this all the time, like every day. I'm just gonna go in with mascara. I'm using the CoverGirl Exhibitionist. I don't know, I like this stuff, it's pretty good. I'm using black. You could also use brown mascara. That could look really pretty. I actually should get some brown mascara. It does feel kind of funny though because I am a lot more limited in when I can film videos. I have to either do it like during Wilder's nap time or once Jordan's home from work, and I'm always hesitant to do it while he's napping because his naps vary so much in length. Anyways, I usually just do it when Jordan gets home from work, but now it's like 5 something in the evening and I'm just getting ready for nothing. Not that I'd be getting ready for anything even if I did it during the day, because hashtag quarantine. But anyways, mascara always takes me a long ass time. I'm gonna do a couple coats back and forth on each eye, so let's just cut to the finished result. Okay, there we go. Lashes are done. I'm gonna go ahead and do my eye highlight, and then we'll zoom out and do the face highlight, and then we'll pretty much be done. So for the eyes, I'm just gonna go back to the Sultry palette, and I'm gonna go into this shade Fresh over here. Hello? There we go. It's fresh, I just like it, okay? It is not a shimmer, so it's a flat color, which is kind of nice because we've got all flat colors going on anyways. So I'm just gonna take this on a tiny little brush. This is the Morphe M213, and I'm just gonna put it right in the brow bone. I usually do highlight after setting spray, but with a flat color, I don't really want to because I don't want it to be like stark in comparison to the rest of the eye. This is just supposed to be like very subtle, just kind of carve out the brow a little bit. As you can see, I went a little bit too low right here with the highlight. So I'm just gonna take the brush we used for our crease and just kind of lightly go back over and kind of bring that crease color back up. And then I'll just go back in with that highlight color and touch it up. And I'm just taking that same color right on the inner corner as well, just to open it up and brighten it up a little bit. All right guys, with the highlight on, that is it for eyes. I'm gonna zoom you out. We're gonna finish up the face, and then we will bid farewell. I don't know why I say things like that. Anyways, let's zoom you guys out. So eyes are done. All that's left is basically just highlight. So I'm just gonna use any brush and just kind of brush away the leftover baking powder. I'm also gonna use my spoolie again and just make sure that my brow hairs are still where I want them to be. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use my setting spray. I'm gonna go in with the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix setting spray. This is like my all-time fave. It is super glowy, super nice, but it doesn't make me look oily, and it holds my makeup in place all day long. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with that. And then I'm also just gonna go in while it's still wet and do highlight. So I'm gonna go in with the Morphe M510 brush, a little bit fluffier. Oh shoot, I forgot I had my wine glass resting on my palette. Okay, that's enough of that. So as you can see, like that, just with the glowy, oh my god, should I have drank that wine? Just with the glowy blush and bronzer that we had and that setting spray, like we already have a nice glow going on, but let's intensify it with the ABH Gleam Glow Kit. This is discontinued. I've been using this forever. If you've ever seen one of my other videos, you know, but I don't know what I'm gonna do when I run out, which will be soon. But I'm gonna go ahead with Starburst and Mimosa, as I always do. I'm just gonna put that on the highest points of my cheekbones and kind of connect it with the glow that I already see from the blush. A little bit on the tip of the nose and just slightly up, and then just in the Cupid's bow as well. I kind of go just above my Cupid's bow because when I do my lip liner, I go above my Cupid's bow anyways with that. So I just go a little bit above the Cupid's bow. And then I'll just hit it all with my blush brush one more time just to make sure that everything is all kind of together. And then if I accidentally go over any of my breakouts with anything shimmery, like highlighter, the blush, or anything, I'll just go in with my beauty blender that had the powder on it. I'll just lightly tap over that just to mattify it again and just make sure that everything's kind of concealed and hidden away. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good. I think everything's kind of come together. All that's left is the lips. I kind of look scary, like I have no lips right now because they're so covered in foundation and concealer and all of that good stuff. So I guess I could have done this before I zoomed you out for the eyes, but I personally like to overline my lips, and I love to see how other people overline their lips. So I'm gonna zoom you guys in and show you how I do mine, and if you don't care, then skip this part. Okay, so I just went ahead and wiped off some of the stuff that was going on my lips. I'm gonna grab my lip liner. I use the same one pretty much every single day. It's the NYX lip pencil in the shade Natural. So I start on my top lip always, and I always start in the Cupid's bow. So like I said earlier, I fill it in pretty well completely. So I'll just go right in the center and kind of, I have a really like deep cupid's bow, so I'll just kind of connect the two peaks so that I basically have no cupid's bow at all. And then I'll sort of recreate a mini cupid's bow by going just outside my natural one. So you can already see, I don't know, can you already see how much bigger my lips look just from doing that? And then I'll go down the sides of my lips, and when I do that, actually it kind of looks like I have a mustache, which is hilarious. When I go down the outside of my lips, as I get closer to the edge, I will come back into my natural lip line so that when I smile or as the day goes on and my liner fades, I don't have like a gap or anything crazy, and I just don't look like a clown overall. So I usually go like kind of on an angle with my pencil so that I'm getting like a thicker line instead of a thinner one, and I'll kind of just put the very, very tip where I want the overline to be so that I'm going over my natural lip and creating a new line at the same time. And then just about here-ish, I'll start coming back into my natural line. So once I have the top lined, I'll go in and just kind of shade the outer corners so that as it does fade away, it's not like a harsh line and everything I kind of said before. So, but I leave the center lighter. So then for the bottom lip, I start in the center and I go just where my lip meets my skin. And that's where I'll do like my darkest line. So I'll kind of just put the pencil like straight and just do a line. And then as I come out, I will kind of lift off the pressure so that it kind of softens the line and the shade as well, if that makes sense. And basically I'm just following exactly where my lip actually ends and where my skin kind of starts. I'm going right along that line. And so the corner again, I just go right on the line on the inside. Shade in the corner, and then same thing on the other side. Okay guys, so this is where I kind of leave the lining. I will give it a little smoosh together, which it doesn't really rub together too much because it is super dry, right? It's just a liner. In my day-to-day, I will do this and then just put on like a really shiny chapstick. But when I'm doing real makeup, as I call it, then I go in with a gloss. So I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb. This is Diamond Milk. And I will put that right on the center of my lips. So right in the middle. And I'm not bringing it up too high to the Cupid's bow on the top lip. Smoosh them together. What do you call doing that, by the way? What, like I call it smooshing them together. What do you call it? And then I'll just pat it out, and that's when I'll bring it out to the edges. Sometimes you just need a little bit more, and that is basically that. I swear, you guys, it doesn't take that long when I'm doing it without explaining it. It takes me like 1-2 minutes max. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. The first few times are like questionable. So just, I would say like try overlining when you're not going anywhere to start, just to make sure that you don't do anything ridiculous. But anyways, guys, this is the finished look. This is my Kardashian inspired brown smoky eye. I hope you guys like it, and I hope you guys welcome me back with open arms. I know in my last video that I uploaded was a welcome back video as well, and I was like, bitch, welcome back to what? When I was rewatching it, like you didn't come back. So this is an actual welcome back. I will actually be uploading regularly. I almost said hopefully, but not hopefully. I'm putting it out there. I'm gonna upload regularly. This is it. This is for real. Yeah, I hope you guys welcome me back with open arms and that you like this video. And if you did, then like it, subscribe to my channel, share this with your friends, tell them I'm back, and if they don't know who I am, either tell them about me or be like, forget it, she's not worth it. That's up to you, whatever you think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Today we're gonna do show us that really pretty foundation you have on. It's called Classico Spaghetti Sauce. How about your eyeshadow? Classico Spaghetti Sauce? No way. Lipstick? Classico Spaghetti Sauce!
Spaghetti smash?
Whoa, 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 whoa. Everything's falling apart already. I don't want to say welcome back because it's been a million years. This was a really good intro. I look so pale under these lights and with no tan. It's embarrassing. Anyways, okay. I'm also gonna use my, whoa. I'm just gonna put this on the floor. Don't forget to remind me that it's on the floor and don't let me kick it over, okay? And talk about makeup. Why does this keep happening? Baby, why are you getting spaghetti sauce everywhere, dude? Okay, let's do beauty shots and get this out of our way. Oh, God.
Pew, pew, pew. It's a chopper.
Hold up.